Recently, we reviewed the Redmi 3 here on C4 Tech. Xiaomi's already released an updated variant called the Redmi 3S, and this one's rumored to be coming to India soon. So I've been using it as my primary device for over a week now, and in this video, let's see if Xiaomi's done enough to make this worth the insane wait. If this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, this is C4 Tech, and you're watching my full review of the Xiaomi Redmi 3S. Let's get started. The build remains largely the same from the Redmi 3, so here, let me roll this little clip from my Redmi 3 review. While the build's been updated, the Redmi 3 still retains a lot of the traditional Xiaomi Redmi design cues. For example, the keys are in backlit, the power button and the volume rockers are still found to the right. We have a slot to the left, and here you can add either two SIM cards or a SIM and a micro SD card. The primary microphone and the micro USB port reside at the bottom. It's worth mentioning that the Redmi 3 has support for USB OTG. What's new here is that along with the 3.5mm headphone jack and the secondary noise cancelling microphone up top, we now have an IR blaster. So you can use your Redmi 3 to control a TV or an air conditioner and whatnot. And all that's applicable here with just two changes put to the back. Number one, the pattern to the back, that's gone off. Number two, there's a fingerprint scanner included. The big change though is not one that's visible, but rather one that's underneath the hood. Here the Redmi 3S is powered by the Snapdragon 430 chip. Now that's 8 Cortex-A53 cores with 4 cores clocked at 1.4 GHz each and another 4 clocked at 1.1 GHz each. If you think about it, that's 100 MHz lesser on both sets of cores when compared to the Redmi 3's Snapdragon 616. Well, that might be a downgrade of sorts. What's improved here is the GPU. With the Snapdragon 430, we get the newer Adreno 505 instead of the Adreno 405 from the Snapdragon 616. This Redmi 3S that I'm using in this video has 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage, while Xiaomi also sells a lower 2 gig RAM and 16 gig storage variant. The performance here is decent. With intense day-to-day scenarios like gaming, the Redmi 3S performed well. It ran everything we threw at it. A lot of them very well. It did drop a few frames with intense titles, but then again, here's a phone that's priced under 10,000 rupees or $150, so given the segment, the 3S punches well above its weight. Another thing that impressed me is the fact that the 3S is just 8.5mm thick and weighs in at under 145 grams. Despite managing to pack in that monster 4100 mAh battery, it doesn't really feel like one of those big battery phones where you trade in ergonomics for battery capacity. The Redmi 3S actually feels very easy to use in one hand. It doesn't feel heavy at all, the weight distribution is perfect. While the design kinda feels played out, the build and ergonomics are aspects that Xiaomi's nailed here. The main reason why the Redmi 3S is single-hand usage friendly is because it sports a 5-inch display. The resolution still remains the same as the first Redmi device, 720p, but this is a good 720p IPS LCD panel. Xiaomi has come a long way in terms of color fidelity and viewing angles, but sadly, there's still no mention of the brand of glass protecting the display. They just state it's scratch-resistant glass, and it does seem to have some sort of oleophobic coating to keep the smudges and fingerprints away. This is a little reflective, but given that the display is bright enough, the Redmi 3 still remains to be quite legible outdoors. Moving on to the camera, here we have the same hardware from the Redmi 3, a 13-megapixel rear camera with an f2.0 aperture, face detection autofocus and a single LED flash, and a 5-megapixel f2.2 front-facing shooter. Under good lighting, this camera performs well. Ample detail, accurate colors, a little bit of software sharpening. Under low light, there's a lot of noise, but still, it's acceptable given the price segment. This camera can also shoot 1080p videos at 30 frames per second, but sadly the quality here is mediocre. The lack of dynamic range, the lack of stabilization, and the focus hunting hurts the quality. The 5-megapixel front camera is decent enough for the occasional selfie, nothing to write home about. If you see the camera UI, it might not appear very familiar. Well, that's because I'm running MIUI 8 on this Redmi 3S. This implementation of MIUI 8 is built on top of Android 6 Marshmallow. Xiaomi's improved a lot of things, made some changes that brings MIUI closer to stock, like with quick toggles or the streamlined menu functionality. In fact, I have a dedicated video on MIUI 8 And here's a card to it, check it out for more information. Anyway, the fingerprint scanner works quite well, seems like the same hardware from the Mi Max and the Redmi Note 3, so quite quick and accurate. And given the smaller device footprint, using it feels a lot more natural. Overall, MIUI 8 here on the Redmi 3S is quite responsive and fast. Initially, I had my doubts about the Snapdragon 430 chip underneath, since we are, in fact, sacrificing 100 MHz of clock speed compared to the Snapdragon 616 from the Redmi 3, but turns out that didn't really affect the experience. Apps open up quick, not flagship quick, but relatively quick, and the 3S is quite snappy. What really impressed me here is the battery life. I managed to get 2 days of moderate usage with this phone. My regular usage involves a lot of mails, Wi-Fi and 4G on all day. Yeah, you heard that right, 4G. This has VoLTE and works with Geo. The call quality and cellular reception were top-notch. The audio via the speakers was quite loud, but the audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack was just about acceptable. Anyway, since I actually bought these QC35s from Bose recently, I spent a lot of my time listening to music via Bluetooth. And add to that a little bit of casual gaming and some YouTube streaming. With that kind of usage, I still managed to get through 2 days on a single charge, 2 work days. So that's like 2 days and a night. Now, that's without tinkering around with any of the battery saving options that Xiaomi's provided. Remember, I'm running MIUI 8 on my Redmi 3S and that's just out, and with time, the battery life should get even better. Anyway, this phone is officially priced at around the $120 mark for the 16GB variant with 2GB of RAM and the $150 mark for the 332 variant that's being used in this video. I'd expect it to launch at about 8,000 rupees for the lower variant and 10,000 rupees for the 32GB variant. And at that price, the Redmi 3S will be a must-buy. Here's to hoping Xiaomi actually brings this out to India sooner rather than later. Anyway, if you can't wait and want to import it yourself, you can find it on banggood.com, and I'll leave a link to that along with the discount code in the description below. With that, we get to the end of this review. Do you agree with my take on the Redmi 3S? Let me know in the comments below. So give this video a thumbs up if you like it, vote it down if you didn't, and for more videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4E Tech, signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.